Yo, welcome back, fam. Hope y'all are doing all right. Happy Thursday. Happy March Madness, first day of the tournament. That's where we're going to begin. We're going to start with our toast tonight. So if you got something nearby, you go ahead and grab it. Today, I am sipping on a great value purified drinking water, cold bottle. I like my water cold. I like all my drinks cold. To be honest with you, I don't like anything warm or lukewarm. So it's the afternoon. That's why we're doing water. I got to play a softball game tonight. The weather's beautiful. I'm looking forward to that because there's not going to be much more magnificent weather ahead of us. So it's springtime, and that means it's time to get on the field and knock the ball around a little bit. I did that yesterday, actually. Played some golf after work. It was awesome. It's best time of year, if you ask me. March is my favorite month of the year. I think I finished the pod last week by saying that. So that's genuinely my thoughts. But today is a humongous day for sports fans, for gamblers, for anybody who likes college basketball. First day of the tournament. So that's pretty much what this toast is about. It's to the month of March, to March Madness. If you follow my personal Instagram, this morning I uploaded something to my story where I listed like my 5 favorite Thursdays, top 5 favorite Thursdays on the calendar. Today is number 1. This is that Thursday that we live for. The first day of the tournament. There's nothing like it. You got basketball from 12 to 12. 12 hours, 16 games. It's amazing. So we've already had some games finish, and looks like my team, Duke, is losing right now. It's very early. Game just started. So if you get a reference of when I'm recording, we are here on Thursday afternoon. And I do apologize for not having recorded last night. Things got pretty busy for us the first half of this week. So it's Thursday afternoon. I'm cramming this in so I can hopefully have this episode uploaded before I go play a softball game tonight. But anyway, where was I? Sorry, I'm getting off track already. Yeah, today is my favorite Thursday on the calendar. If you want to know the other rankings 2 through 5, just so you know where my head's at on that. Number 2, it's got to be the first round of the Masters. Number 3 is the NFL draft first round. Love it. And then number 4 is Thanksgiving. Got a lot of football that day. You get to eat a lot that day, hang out with friends, family. You're always off of work that day. So great Thursday on the calendar right there. And then number 5 is Big Brother live eviction episodes. We usually get a ton of those during the summer. So those are my 5 favorite Thursdays on the calendar every year. You can count on it. You can book it. And today happens to be that day. So this goes out to us sports fans, basketball fans. I'm sure your bracket's already busted. I think mine is I'm 2-1 so far because it looks like Louisville is going to beat USF, which I meant to switch, by the way. I had USF initially, and I meant to switch it to Louisville because I'm here in Central Florida, man. We are not good with South Florida. USF is our rival. So I meant to switch that. I felt better about Louisville anyway, but that's one of those switches that I forgot to make, and I got to live with the L. USF's down like 20, and they're in the second half, so that ain't happening. But I'm not hurt by it. I'm bound to lose one, and I'm cool with it being USF. All right, go Knights. I think they play tomorrow night. All right, so cheers. I'm over here sipping water and talking my brains away. I'm so disorganized. This is what happens when I delay to Thursday afternoon for our pod. But hey, we're going to jump into it. We got one bit of news to share with you before we get into the Las Vegas race recap. So the big news coming out of Hendrick Motorsports this week is that Alex Bowman is going to be out the next 3 races now. He's already missed 2. And now it's confirmed that he will at least miss a total of 5. Hopefully none beyond that. But right now we know for sure that Justin Allgaier will be the replacement driver this week at Darlington, next week at Martinsville, and then the week after that when they race at Bristol. Allgaier will be in the 48. Bowman will still be hopefully recuperating and getting better. Man, I hate it for Alex Bowman. After the season he had last year, it ended in a disappointment, was just no good down the stretch. Really was looking forward to seeing him get out there on the track with a bunch of brand new crew members, and Bowman has earned that right, and he's a multi-time winner with Hendrick Motorsports. I think he's got 8 wins in his career. He's proven himself to be a playoff contender year in, year out. Never really had that chance this year to get that going, and even when he does return to the car, they're gonna be so far out of contention that, playoffs will not be a reality for that team. They'll just be there, hopefully, to gel, make sponsors happy, build on something towards next year, win some races, still get a bunch of money for that, still get a bunch of points when you win races. It won't lock them into the playoffs, but it will surely help. We'll talk about that in a second. But really, the most important thing is getting healthy and getting better, which we hope that that's what's happening for Bowman. It's certainly discouraging to hear that he's out confirmed the next 3 races, but you got to put your health first. One of the big things every year that we talk about in sports with these athletes now missing games left and right is that, your best ability is availability. And right now, Bowman is not even available to sit in that car and drive it, and that sucks. That hurts. I really hope that this doesn't lead to the demise of his career, but it's certainly shaping up to look that way, and I hate to think about that, but his health is more important. So, man, Alex, if you, by any chance, get to hear or see this, man, we are thinking about you. We're praying for you. Get better. Don't rush back. Your longevity in life is so much more important. Your family is more important, man. Your future is so much more important than driving that car. But we can't wait to see you behind the wheel. So we hope you get better, man. And I'll raise my water to Alex Bowman tonight too. All right, so that takes care of the NASCAR news for this week. So let's talk about Las Vegas. Once again, I thought this was a pretty intriguing race. Out of the 5 races we've had so far, probably the most dud of a race that we've had, but still, for a Vegas race, it was fun, and it was doable. Denny Hamlin goes on to win, career win number 61. This breaks the tie that he had with Kevin Harvick. They were both tied at 60. Now, Denny Hamlin has broken that tie. He sits at solo 10th all-time in Cup Series wins with 61. Next on the list is Kyle Busch, who has 63 wins. And I think it's pretty, I think everybody imagines, and we all see the day coming where Denny Hamlin will pass Kyle Busch. And once that happens, I don't think Kyle Busch is going to pass him back. Kyle might get 1 or 2 more wins here late in his career, probably on super speedways, if anything, but they're certainly struggling and not looking very hopeful. Denny Hamlin, though, he's at the peak of his career right now. He is incredible, even with his age and even with these big numbers, 61. I know that he wants a championship probably more than anything, but boy, he is on a heater right now. Can't be stopped. He's on top of his game. Looks like it keeps getting better and better. And we knew this going into Vegas, this was going to be a strong track for him. But even at the road course earlier this year, he finished top 10, which was, I think, his first top 10 road course finish in the next gen car. So, I mean, he's getting it done everywhere. He's getting better with his age. Eventually, it's going to hit him. It's going to drop off, but that has not happened yet. The guy is pretty incredible right now, which I hate to admit, but I just got to be real with you because he is one of my least favorite drivers. But, I talked about coming into this year, he was, gaining in popularity after the offseason he had, losing that championship and losing his dad and his parents losing their house and going through the trial and just, those are just the things that were public that we know about. There could have been some more crap going on in his life. We know that it was not a fun offseason for Denny Hamlin. And I thought, maybe the tides would start to turn a little bit. He's been known as a villain. He plays the role great. And maybe, just maybe, he would become more popular and likable with the fans. And when he won at Vegas this past week, fans were cheering him on. I heard a lot more cheers than boos. I'm sure that there were some boo birds out there, but you didn't catch that through the TV set anyway. And so, he's becoming more likable. And I think, that day's coming. Maybe this season where he's going to have the chance to pass Rowdy in the all-time wins list. And so that's a villain passing a villain. And I think if he's able to pass Kyle Busch, that might just help his case even more, becoming more likable with the fans. So, I don't know if he's going to dethrone Chase Elliott as the most popular driver, but I think he's the only guy that has a chance right now to do so. With Larson, he's in a drought right now. I think I heard 29 race drought, and he's not doing the double this year, which has certainly helped his popularity. I think Larson's going to come down off of that high now. I mean, Denny, he's riding that high, and he continues to grow in his popularity. I know that probably doesn't matter to him, but it's certainly interesting for us NASCAR fans seeing how drivers go through different waves of being liked and not being liked. And I think he'll always kind of be a villain, but because he's so good at it, I think that's why some people are gonna like him a lot. And maybe he'll get some votes for that award at the end of the season. I don't know why I went that direction with my Denny Hamlin takeaways from the race, but another big takeaway is Toyota just keeps dominating. This is their 4th win in 5 races, and they led the majority of this race. They were up front all day long. All the Toyotas pretty much. I mean, again, I really only count JGR in 2311. So, I mean, they had the top 4 qualifying spots, numbers 1 through 4 to start the race. We're all Toyotas. They're off to a great start to 2026. Just what they need, because eventually Ford and Chevy's going to catch up. But boy, Toyota looks impressive right now. And I hate to bring that up on a Hendrick Motorsports, fan-driven podcast, but it's the truth. That's what we're chasing right now. We're chasing Toyota. We're chasing Denny Hamlin. And so, anyway, with that being said, though, I do like what I saw from Hendrick Motorsports and Chevrolet this week. We certainly stepped it up. I raised some red flags last week about where Hendrick and Chevy are, and I was very concerned with this new body, but I also wanted to give it one more week. Let's just see how we do at Vegas. This is like the first traditional 1.5 mile racetrack on the schedule. And so we'll have a ton more races, more similar to Vegas this year than any other style of track. So I was very interested to see how we were going to run this week at Vegas, and not very optimistic, to be honest with you, but I was just going to let it play out. And man, those red flags are coming down. They've been lowered. I loved seeing the results from this past week, and not just the results, how we finished, but throughout the race. Hendrick Motorsports was up there. Our cars looked strong. We looked like we could contend with Toyota. And so, very pleased with the showing that we got. I think the new body will be just fine. If this is where we're starting at, if this is the starting point, I think it can only go up from here, to be honest with you. Really, really pleased to set the bar right here at Las Vegas, because we're only going to get better with the new body. We're only going to improve. We're learning more and more as we get to race more with the new body. So, yeah, sure, we'll have some bad races every now and then, but I think we're in a good spot going forward to learn, analyze, and start improving on what we got. And again, we didn't dominate. We weren't world class this past week, but we ran up front all day. And that's what I wanted to see, that we could contend with the hot Toyotas at the moment. And, before I go on too much further, I'm very impressed with Chase Elliott. I'll probably touch on this in a few minutes, but the boy has not been good at Las Vegas, and he just had himself a darn good race. And so, when Denny won this race, I was happy with Chase finishing second. I mean, that's a good day at Las Vegas. The guy has an average finish of like 18th or 19th at Las Vegas. I'll take a second place finish from Chase Elliott at Las Vegas every day of the week. But the part that stung was who we lost to. There's 2 drivers I hate to lose to. It's Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, my least favorite drivers of all time, probably. And so running second to them, that's the part that stings as a fan. I know that Chase got out of the car and he was pleased. He saw it from a points perspective and was pleased with the points that they were able to collect with the finish. But he too had, he mentioned that one was going to sting a little bit. It hurt. And I love hearing that from my driver because you never want to be the first loser, which is essentially what you are. If you ain't first, you last. And so while, winning doesn't lock you into the playoffs anymore, winning is so important for the points now. And this is why I love the point system. Let me preface this next point. I'm saying that word a lot right now. Let me preface this next section of the episode with me just saying I love the point system that we have, because while these guys are racing an entire marathon for 26 races just for seeding based on points, and yet we still are prioritizing winning. I love it. The point system is flawless. Chase Elliott finished second this week, and he scored stage points in both stages, and he still dropped in the standings from fourth to fifth because the guy that jumped him won the race. Winning is so important, and it remains that way, and that's why I love the point system that NASCAR has given us now. And obviously, I didn't like it for Chase this past week, but once he starts winning some more races, it's going to work out in our favor. So you got to go win races. We saw that while it was one spot for Chase Elliott that he dropped in the points, that was a big change. It had a lot of impact this past week in the point standings. Another big one we saw was SVG. I think he might have finished last at a track that he ran well at last year, but he fell 11 spots in the standings. He went from 5th to 16th. And so now SVG's in a spot that he probably feels like he needs to go and win some races, and he probably will win the road courses, multiple. But man, it's just these points, they're so close and they're so important because of the seeding. It doesn't feel like you can sneak into the playoffs and have a shot at the championship because you're going to be so far behind in the points, and they're so hard to make up unless you start winning. And if you're winning races, you're going to be top 8, top 6 in the standings probably if you have multiple wins. So, I love the result that Chase got. While he wasn't, in contention for the win all day, he was at the end. And so that salvaged a decent points day out of it. Still dropped a spot, but he's hanging around. He's 5th in the points right now. And with his consistency, he's going to hang around all year long. And as long as we can be top 5 or 6 in the points when we make the playoffs, we just got to go on a run and get some wins down the stretch. I'll feel good about that. If we fall out the top 8, top 10, I don't really have much hope for anybody outside of that. So, this point system is flawless in that area. Sorry, one last part that stings. I know I was supposed to mention this already, but Chase was better at the end of that race too. Oh man. I never thought he was going to be in contention at Las Vegas, even early in that third stage. I didn't think we had anything, but we did at the end. And, I would like to say if there was another 5 or 10 laps that we would have tracked down Denny and passed him. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to get stuck and hung up on thinking that way, though, because with dirty air, the closer you get, the harder it is to pass sometimes. So we would have had some more things need to fall our way and have more time at the end of the race. But, man, it was very encouraging, though, as a 9 fan to see him closing on the leader late in the race at a track that he doesn't have a good history with. So let's move on. 3 more points that I want to mention from this past weekend before we do our little race analysis. First, Suarez versus Trackhouse continues. We've been noticing this, not just his driving style on the track, but also, his wife's been tweeting, and things are just getting interesting. And so we've seen this coming from a mile away, that this guy's bitter towards his former team. And I don't really blame him because I don't think he really did anything to lose his job. He just got replaced at doing his job with Trackhouse. And I don't blame them for making the moves that they made. But sure is fun to watch, though. And so when he and Ross went at it a little bit on pit road, love seeing that. I love the beef. I talked about that last week on the Checker Chat. I'm all for the drama. I'm all for the beef. And I don't know how long it'll keep up. Eventually, this guy's going to just say, screw it. I can't keep doing this with these guys. But right now, it sure is fun to watch. It's every week at this point, every week. And Darlington is certainly going to be a track where guys are getting into each other, making mistakes. It's too tough to tame. And he's going to be driving around Ross and SVG and Zilich all year long. So this is just the beginning. And at some point, like I said, either these guys are going to have to duke it out, or he's just going to have to cut his losses and be done with it and be the bigger guy. So fun to watch that, though. Love the drama. Next point I have, Corey Day continues to do his thing. He continues to impress. Still so early in his O'Reilly career. And yes, he had those growing pains early. That was from like the first 3 races. The past 2 races have been very clean, and he's had very solid results. So those growing pains, they're going to fade. The more and more clean races that he collects, the good finishes that he collects, that's all going to be wiped out and forgotten. Man, I'm loving what I see from Corey Day right now. He drives a rocket ship every week. He's got the only O'Reilly Hendrick Motorsports car in every O'Reilly race. So that O'Reilly program is only zoned in on his 17 car. And, right now the goal is, while he looks like he might be able to contend for some wins, that's not the goal quite yet. I think the goal is still to keep learning. He's certainly not going to move up yet. He's probably going to change some minds, and HMS is probably going to be considering it, especially with the health news of Alex Bowman going forward. Is this a long-time fit kind of guy, or is it Corey Day? Do we throw him into the Cup Series? I don't think that right now that should be the focus. I hope behind the scenes they're still telling him, hey, Allgaier is the guy that's going to run this car while Bowman is out. Right now, we just want you to keep learning, keep your foot on the gas, and keep doing your thing in the O'Reilly Series. And eventually, if he does so, and if he keeps his trajectory going up, eventually they're going to come to a crossroads where they will have to say, we got to lock this guy down in the Cup Series. And so, that 48, maybe it does open soon. And if it does, the trajectory that Corey Day's on, he's going to get consideration. I just don't think that should be his focus right now. He still needs to be all in on continuing to improve in the O'Reilly Series and clean it up still. 2 races. It's a good turnaround from where he was after COTA, but it's still a very small sample size. So you have to keep piling those one race after another on top of each other. And then last point that I'm going to mention, coming out of Las Vegas, going into this week, Darlington, which used to be a throwback weekend, now it's not. They're kind of doing away with the theme. I miss that. I miss throwback weekend. I'm a very festive guy. So, I love events. I love holidays. I love themed weekends, themed games, promotional kind of games, hockey games, football games. I really love this one race that we just knew as a throwback weekend. Love seeing all the paint schemes come out. Love seeing the drivers do retro merch. They've gone as far to, like, a lot of them have shaved their face to just have the old school mustache, I miss that. And I'm glad some drivers, some teams are still sticking with that, especially all the Biffle schemes we're going to see across the board. I think in all 3 series, there's going to be a Biffle scheme this week to honor Greg Biffle and his contributions on and off the track. I think that is great. This little throwback week, and it celebrates the history of the sports. While it's not, really mandatory and series wide anymore, I hope that they can tap back into that at some point. And even if it's not throwback, do some kind of theme. Like 4th of July races were always red, white, and blue schemes. Book 600, always red, white, and blue. I love that. And I know that that's tough from a spotter standpoint, but I'm really fun to just do that. Just not even a handful of times each year to tap into that. And Holy moly. Woo! I just noticed Duke is down double digits right now to Siena, 16 seed. Yikes. Sorry, I know that came out of nowhere. I should not have looked at my phone at that moment. Man, this is such a random episode. But, I might be going through it. Only 2 number 1 seeds have ever lost in the first round, and Duke is the heavy favorite. Oh, boy. That's tough to swallow right there. All right. We're going to try to ignore that because it's a long way to go in that game. But that was all. That was my takeaways from Las Vegas and going into Darlington. So let's get into our team-by-team analysis, okay? I'll try and get through all this quickly so that we don't have a super long pod. But Chase Elliott was our best finisher, so we'll start with him. Now, he started 15th at Las Vegas, and like I said, he scored stage points in both stages. So stage 1, he finished 8th. Stage 2, he finished 9th. And then he finished 2nd, of course, for the race. And that tied his best Las Vegas finish. So he still hasn't won at the track, but getting closer. And again, was closing on the leader in the final lap. So great momentum to build off of right there. William Byron started 9th in this race. He finished stage 1 and 6th, and then he was the stage 2 winner. So good stage points day, and he finished 3rd in the race. Great all-around points day for the 24 car. Love to see that. Kyle Larson started 5th, so he was the first guy outside of Toyota to start this race. Anyway, stage 1, he finished 2nd. Stage 2, he finished 2nd, and then he faded at the end in stage 3. He went on to finish 7th for the race. You know, there were a couple drivers that faded in stage 3, and Larson was one of them. That was kind of glaring to me, is that while Chase improved and he has some momentum to build off of, I don't know if the 5 team feels that way coming out of Vegas. They were top 2 all day throughout the stages and then faded at the end. So tough way to end their day, but still all around great points day for him as well. And then Justin Allgaier started 22nd. And then finished 25th after scoring no stage points. He finished 2 laps down. To be honest, this is kind of what was expected. To get a top 25 was, I think, okay. Hopefully we can get some top 20s going forward. Maybe some top 15s. You know, we're going to tracks that will probably suit Allgaier a little bit more. But right now he's just in there to hopefully help that team improve and come together and gel a little bit more as he fills in for Bowman. But then let's look at the O'Reilly race. We had Kyle Larson in a JRM car. He started 2nd, and then he finished 7th in stage 1. He finished 5th in stage 2, and then he went on to win the race, just as you would expect Young Money to do in the Sin City. And then Corey Day was our Hendrick entry, of course, started 11th, and he scored stage points all day. Stage 1, he finished 8th. Stage 2, he finished 7th, and then he finished this race 8th. And so, love to see it. Love to see the consistency, the clean race, and a great finish. So that means right now, our current driver standings for our Cup guys. Chase Elliott is 5th. He's minus 87. Kyle Larson is 7th. He's minus 98. And Byron is 8th. He's also minus 98. And then Alex... Oh, I don't mean to laugh at that. It's a typo on my end, my notes. Alex Bowman, he's 36, but I wrote down in my notes he's 336. I guess that's how it feels. Oh, boy. All right. I don't mean to laugh at him, man. Speed. Oh, no. All right. Anyway, he's 36 in the points. I might have to edit this out. And he's, no, I'm not going to edit it out, man. This is my pod. I keep this. He is minus 232 points. He's minus 27 points to Connor Zilisch, who is 35th right now. So after 5 races, Suarez replacement is 35th in the points. He's had a tough start to his Cup career. That's also growing pains. It is not easy stepping into this series and being competitive. He'll obviously be competitive on the road courses, but boy, he is buried in the points right now. So anyway, let me give you the Corey Day update in the points real quick. I didn't jot this down, so I am having to look this up on the fly, as I'm going to do a lot. I'm going to look up a lot of things here on the fly for the rest of this episode in previewing Darlington. But right now, Corey Day is 7th in the O'Reilly points. He's minus 83 to the leader, but he's only minus 10 from Sammy Smith, who's one spot ahead of him in 6th. So holding steady. Corey Day's ahead of Rajah Caruth and Sam Mayer and Brandon Jones. Yeah, Taylor Gray. Some good names that I really didn't expect him to be out running. And though it's through, they've had, I think, 5 races as well, maybe 4. Yeah, love to see the consistency pay off for Corey Day right now. Okay, so we are going to get into our Darlington preview. And I am using Ryan Pritt, who works for Hendrick Motorsports. Usually every week comes out with a little preview and gives each of our drivers their history at the track. So a lot of times that's where I get my info when I give you our preview. And I'm going to read straight from it. So we begin with Kyle Larson, who has 16 starts at Darlington. Now, he only has 1 win. He's got 0 poles. He does have 7 top 5 finishes and 9 top 10s. He has led over 1,000 laps. He's at 1,050 laps led. His average finish is 12.9. Chase Elliott has 18 starts at Darlington. No wins and no poles. And he's got 4 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and he's led 159 laps. His average finish here is 15.9. William Byron has 15 starts at Darlington. He's got 1 win and 2 poles, 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s, 331 laps led, and his average finish is 15.4. And then Justin Allgaier has 2 cup starts at Darlington. No wins, no poles, no top 5s, no top 10s, never led a lap here in the Cup Series. Just in those 2 starts, which I would imagine are back in 2014 and 2015, like we talked about last week. He was driving the 51 car, so was in the back for probably both of these races. His average finish here is 28th in the Cup Series. So that's how we are looking headed in to Darlington. So that brings us to the odds, okay? And I'm going to bring up Hard Rock Betting app. This is the part that I really wanted to do live, because a lot of times I put a lot of thought into this, who I'm going to pick for the upcoming race. And so I'll jot down my notes. I wanted to just try it out and see what we come up with on the fly here. So with that being said, the Goodyear 400 at Darlington, and this is according to Hard Rock Betting app, Denny Hamlin is the favorite to win this week. He's plus 500, but our best Hendrick driver in the odds, Kyle Larson, and he's plus 550. So right behind him, neck and neck. You can throw Tyler Reddick in there as well. He's plus 575. But I'm not going to go through all of the drivers' odds. I'm going to inform you the rest of our Hendrick drivers. So William Byron would be next on our list. He's plus 650. And then a big drop-off. Chase Elliott is plus 2,000 to win this race. And then well, they still got Alex Bowman in here. Hard Rock not good at updating that to Justin Allgaier. Now, they have Bowman at plus 5,000, so I'd imagine Allgaier is probably going to be 6 to 7,500 to win this race, probably. Yep, so if there are some other notables, obviously Briscoe is worth mentioning. I think he has 2 cup wins here. I know he won last year, and we all remember his big Xfinity win. But Briscoe's plus 600 to win this week. Laney is the first Ford. He's plus 900 to win. And then we got to look for Eric Jones. He's plus 5,000 to win. He also has 2 career wins here in the Cup Series. 2 out of his, I think, just 3 career wins in the Cup Series have come here at Darlington. So this is a track he knows how to get around pretty well. And so we got to make our predictions. We'll do our 3 picks. We'll go with a Hendrick winner, a non-Hendrick winner, and then a long shot. And so, man, again, going off the cuff here, I think I'm going to settle on this pick. I told myself I wouldn't at this track, but our Hendrick winner with those odds, I will take Chase Elliott plus 2,000. And again, I know he hasn't won at this track before and really hasn't been great here, but he wasn't great at Las Vegas either until this past week. So maybe he's figured something out. They're going to keep growing that momentum. They're going to come into Darlington and race with some confidence. And I just saw a clip yesterday that reminded me of his first Xfinity race at Darlington, and that boy ripped. And he took, it was a green-white checker. I think he restarted third or fourth, and the boy ripped around the top and won that race. So I know he can do it. He just hasn't been great, especially in the next-gen era. But, again, we said the same thing going into Las Vegas last week, and he clearly was the best car down the stretch of that race. So, plus 2,000, it's a bit high, but we're going to take those odds with Chase Elliott. So now we got to pick a non-Hendrick winner, and this is one. I'm not going to go plus 2,000 anymore. We got to pick something a little bit more justified. And to be honest, Denny is probably the pick to take, but I'm not gonna. I can't do it. I cannot do it. Coming off a win, I don't want to see him get number 62 this week, so I'm not going to pick him. But I'll take his teammate. Plus 600 is Chase Briscoe. And we just mentioned this guy can win this track. He's very good here. He's in that JGR equipment. Toyotas have been excellent. He does have a new sponsor on board this week, so brand new paint scheme hitting the track for the first time. Freebird, maybe. That will be a little bit of good luck for that team, because that's certainly what they're lacking right now. That's what makes it a little bit tougher to pick Briscoe right now, is this team has not had a good start to the season. He's looked good. The car has speed, but they've ran into some misfortune through the first 5 races. Really the first 4. I think this past week was his best result. But, yeah, Briscoe is certainly capable of winning this race this week. So, I mean, that's why he's 4th highest odds, or 4th lowest, whatever. The long shot, though, man, it's so hard not to take Eric Jones. Yeah, just because we've seen him do it. And we didn't just see him do it one time. It wasn't a fluke. He did it again. So, in that 43 car, got them petty colors on the car. I think we would have to pick Eric Jones as a long shot, to be honest with you, okay? I'm playing him in my fantasy league this week. So hopefully he has a top 10 run in him, and maybe at the end, if he's near the front, maybe he'll have a chance to pull it off. So those will be the 3 picks we go with: Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, and Chase Jones. Just kidding, Eric Jones. I don't think there's another Chase to pick. All righty, so that brings us now to let me give you the Corey Day odds real quick. O'Reilly racing on Saturday. I'll give you the schedule in just a second. Corey Day is plus 4,000 to win this race, so he's buried down there in the odds, but he has been all season, and he continues to deliver great performances. You know, I would imagine that he might have been plus 5,000 or 6,000 to win this race, but he keeps putting in some good performances. Plus 4,000, still pretty long odds, but yeah, we'll see how he does. We have Kyle Larson in the race again at Darlington. I'd imagine that's going to be a JRM entry. He's the heavy favorite to win on Saturday. He's plus 185. And he'll have to battle Christopher Bell, and Ross Chastain are also in this race representing the Cup Series. So let's go ahead and take a look. Actually, I'll give you the restaurant recommendations. Darlington, I have been there for a race before. We stayed in Myrtle Beach when we were there. Nothing crazy stood out to me. When I think of Darlington, South Carolina, I'm thinking of Bojangles, because we just don't have many of them here in Central Florida. I think we got one 30 minutes down the road. I don't get it a whole lot. So when I'm traveling out and about and we pass one, I got to stop in there for the legendary Bo Sweet Tea and then Bo Fries. But yeah, I guess Bojangles is all I got for you. I know that there's other great places. The winery, you got to go to Duplin Winery. Great wine. We do have that still occasionally here at home because it's down the street at the liquor store. But yeah, I really don't have any fancy restaurants to give you. So do your own homework if you're going to the race, and make sure you stop in somewhere and let me know if you like the place and you want to recommend it to me. There's going to be a day I end up back in I might drive through South Carolina in 2 months on my way to another spot. So let me know. Southeastern track, definitely within reach for me. So I would love any of your recommendations. With that being said, though, let's give you the weekend schedule and then we'll be done with this episode. And we can get back on to our March Madness for the weekend. All right, so Truck Series, all 3 series are racing this week. Truck Series will race on Friday night at 7:30, and they'll be on FS1. Excuse me. O'Reilly Series is racing on Saturday at 5:30. That will be on the CW. And then the Cup Series races on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and that will also be on FS1. So that's the racing action that we have that we will fit in to our March Madness filled weekend. I also got the Valspar going on. It's March, baby. It's spring. All these great events are happening in the sports world. I love it. Baseball opening week is next week. Man, what a great time of year. Have I told you March is my favorite month? It's certainly up there. So I think that's where we're going to close this week. Las Vegas was good. We had quite the turnaround. We are lowering our red flags. We are no longer super concerned. Going into Darlington and then 2 short tracks right after that, I'm feeling good about where we're at now as we are still kind of at the introductory phase of this season. So feels good to get a good race under our belts, and now we build off of that. And hopefully that continues at Darlington this week. Enjoy your weekends, and I'll see you next week.